Hi everybody, my name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about the solar storms, the solar flares that have been going on at the moment. And I think they've been going on all week. I actually didn't even realise they were going on until after I'd gotten symptoms. So solar storms, solar flares, they're heightened and intense electromagnetic activity, radiation that happens in our solar system, and it has a very big impact on, say, electronics, on any kind of frequencies, but it also has an effect on our human electromagnetic field. So this can affect our energy and our emotions. It can lead to shifts in our consciousness. What I've noticed the last few days is a lot of intense symptoms, and I didn't even realize the solar storms were going on until after I'd started to experience the symptoms, and then I discovered online that this was what was happening. So I'm going to describe a little bit about the symptoms and what I experienced this week, because we're going through spiritual awakening or a healing journey, or if you're an empath as well, then you are more sensitive to this kind of energy. When you're in tune with your spirituality, you're more sensitive to this kind of energy as well. So it's going to be highly intense for us empaths and for us spiritual awakened people. But what I noticed the last week initially, and it has been the last week because I actually only thought it was the last few days. But when I look back at the last week, I'm like, no, I've had these excessive, intense, heightened emotions all week. I was getting severe triggers at the start of this week. I was very, very angry. I could feel it was like my old inherited anger traits were coming back up. And I think, I dealt with these before and I had healed these. I still got triggered a little bit, but they were intense. This week I was getting the most angry I've gotten in a long time. And then I was doing a bit of inner healing, so I had emotions come up, but they were extreme. It was like a dam burst. It was unreal, especially Saturday morning. I got up and I started my meditation, and from the minute I started my meditation, I was crying. And I think crying is extremely healthy. It's a great way of purging any trauma or any stuck emotions or stuck pain that's within us. But this was very intense for me. Now I distracted myself. I was busy all morning then, and I thought I was fine. But then I went outside to try and sit in nature and just to ground myself, and I just couldn't stop crying. And I was like, why? I was feeling okay. I was after dealing with my traumas that I had to resurface, but I was still very, very sensitive. And I was like, even though I am an emotional person and, I'll cry if I'm happy, I'll cry if I'm sad, I was like, this is very unusual for me. This is very intense. So, I came in, I couldn't stay outside. I was like, I need to just go and watch a few movies and just comfort myself. A little bit of self-care, because when I feel like that, I have to just nurture myself. And I just watch a few Disney movies, something really kind of heartwarming, just to make me feel better. And I cry at the movies then and they'll be all heightened, but it's a great way of purging. And I all day I was crying, and then it got to it. I know I call this bipolar when we go through these kind of emotions, is because literally you are so deep in this emotion for so long, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh my god, it's gone. And it's like a split second. You're in it so intensely for so long, and then all of a sudden you just know that was the last time. That was the last purge, and you're like, oh, thank God, it's over. And it's such a relief. But it was only after that then that I read online about the solar storms and solar flares, and I actually missed, I don't know if it was visible down here, but the Northern Lights were visible throughout the world and in parts of Ireland as well. And I missed it, and whether or not it was visible, I was asleep, so I didn't even know what was happening until after I was disgusted, but yeah, I started to read about the symptoms that we were going through and what the solar storms how they can have an effect on our emotions, our bodies, on our chakra systems, on our minds, and on our just even on our intuition. Because I found this week as well, I've been getting so many downloads. My ears, I get downloads, and I know because my ear starts buzzing, especially this ear. And actually this ear started high pitched noises this week as well. But when I get them intensely, I know I'm getting downloads, but they were heightened this week, and I found my intuition was heightened as well. Because, like, you know, I love when my intuition is heightened because I do stuff before I know I need to do it. You know, I might leave something somewhere and I'm like, I don't usually leave that there, so why would I leave it there? But like 10 minutes later, I could go back and I'd need that thing that was supposed to, you know, that I should have left there. So yeah, my intuition kind of gets heightened as well. But it's the emotions and the anger that really it took me back, to be honest with you, because I know I was dealing with stuff, and I know I was healing I was closing out a 10-year cycle. I was actually healing stuff from 10 years ago. Re-healing, because we heal in layers. So, like, you know, I understood that I was going through that kind of emotion anyway. But the intensity of it was just, it was mind-boggling to me. And it didn't feel right, you know? It felt weird. And as I said, the minute it stopped, I was like, whoa, I feel so much better. Like, it's over now. So I wrote down a few symptoms that I came across. And, you know, you might be going through some of these yourself. So, like, the reason I'm doing this video, I was going to do a different video today, but I was kind of guided to do this. Because as a conscious inner healer, and knowing that I'm going through this awakening journey, you know, I'm aware of my emotions. Like, so, you know, I was doing a bit of intense healing this week. So I understood that I was going through that, and, you know, I was conscious of it. But it still feels a little bit out of, I still felt a little bit out of sync. I felt a little bit, what's the word? I don't know. I felt off. Like it didn't feel normal for me. So I knew there was something different to just a normal purge that I would have gone through. So, you know, I was actually so relieved to find out that I wasn't going through it alone, and that it was the solar storms. But for anyone who's going through these kind of things that are unaware of it, it's going to be harder. Like, you know, when you don't understand the healing journey, or where you don't understand that you're going through a spiritual awakening, and I've noticed this actually. I've noticed people are going through a spiritual awakening and they don't even know it. It's unconscious. You know, they're transforming their lives, they're making the right decisions, but they actually don't know it's because they're going on their soul's path, their awakened path. And so for people who actually, and that's the thing with some empaths as well, they could be going through a spiritual awakening and they could be feeling this external energy and not even know why. They could just think that they're overly tired, that they're overly sensitive, or that you're just overly drained. So, like, you know, as I said, this week I was a little bit out of sorts myself, even though I understood that, I understood what was happening. In a sense, I understood what I was doing. I understood that I was going through this healing. But I didn't understand the intensity of it until I discovered about the solar flares and the solar storms. So for anyone that is going through these heavy emotions and these heavy energies and don't understand it, then it's, you know, I said I'd do this video just to kind of let you know that you're not alone and that you're not going crazy, and that this kind of stuff is kind of normal for what's going on in the atmosphere and the electromagnetic waves that are coming in and affecting your frequency. So I'm going to just give you a few symptoms that I've discovered online, and I'll explain some then that I've actually experienced myself. So heightened pain and sensitivity, like, you know, so your body could be aching, you could have inner and external pain, and you could be just overly sensitive. And that's the way I was, literally overly kind of sensitive. Like, when I'm going through these emotions anyway, like, I am kind of triggered easier. And when I'm going through this intense healing anyway, it's like everything triggers me, do you know? And then like, it's not just the thing I'm healing, but I'm laughing here because it's just so intense, really. But you know, it's extra. Like, it's extra. Like, all my emotions come up. Like, even the stuff I've healed comes up. The codependency comes up. My fears about the future come up. Everything is heightened. It's like, you know, I thought that the dam was bursted because of the stuff I was working on from 10 years ago. But it's also that I'm heightened. Like, I was sensitive to everything. Everything, like, do you know what I mean? Like, just thinking about, you know, even watching something on like watching a movie. You know, I'll get emotional at movies anyway, but at the tiniest little thing, I'm like, oh my God, and I'm crying again, and I'm crying. Do you know, so it does heighten it. It does kind of expand on it a little bit. So, you know, you will be overly sensitive or overly emotional during these times of solar flares. And believe me, like as I said, I'm an emotional person. I think emotions are beautiful. I think it's a great way to purge out what you're feeling. And especially when it's trapped emotion, like, you know, because when we, as I said before, we heal in layers. So, you know, you're healing stuff with the strength that you have at that time. And then it will resurface again when you're stronger, And I've done this now over the last few years to finally release stuff once and for all. But because I was closing out a 10-year cycle, my biggest trauma that I ever experienced, well, one of my biggest ones, that I was afraid to reface it. I was afraid to face it again. And that came up this week, and, you know, it heightened everything. But I thought that my emotions were because of that. But I see now that it was to do with everything. Everything kind of just, you know, when you open a wound, do you know, it's like opening a wound again. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's we can liken that to our internal emotions as well. When you reopen something to re-release it and heal it, you're opening something and it's going to be raw again. It's going to be painful. Do you know, so everything is kind of going to trigger you. But with these solar flares and the solar storm, it's going to be even more heightened and just, you know, a little bit more intense. So be aware of that. You know, it's just, even if you're an emotional person, it's going to be loud. It's going to be very, very intense. So also there's headaches and muscle tension. So there might be physical symptoms as well. Do you know, you might feel lethargic, drained. You might have anxiety and irritability. And that's what I said as well. My anger was intensified this week. And like, that's not like me, because when I'm triggered, I get ratty, I get angry. And obviously that's something for me to heal. But it was like my old intense anger was coming back up. It was bubbling to the surface. It was worse than it has been in years, and like since before I started my healing journey. So that scared me. Like, it actually did. I was like, why is this coming back up again? But now I know it's the solar storms. It makes me a little bit calmer. There's also restlessness and fatigue, but also insomnia. Oh my God, like throughout this healing, I've never like years ago when I had anxiety and depression, I used to find it very difficult to go to sleep. But, you know, over the last few years, you know, I don't have that problem anymore. But throughout spiritual awakening, I do get bouts of insomnia. You know, it's not even, like, sometimes it's hard to get sleep, but usually for me, it's waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep. Now, because of, I don't know, the witching hour they call it, I always wake up in the middle of the night anyway, between 2 and 4. It just always happens. And lately, I think it was Sunday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night, and last night a little bit. It's like nearly 4 nights, like, I've woken up at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and not being able to get back to sleep, and it's torture. But that's the thing, like, it was heightened insomnia, and I thought it was for other reasons, but I realise now it was the solar flares as well. So if you're getting any kind of restlessness, any kind of fatigue, or any kind of insomnia, this is to do with this activity as well. So mood swings, like, there you go with the irritability again. Mood swings, anger issues, like bipolar, like, this is intense stuff. Like, 1 minute you're buzzing, you're happy, and the next minute you're just angry, and you're angry for no reason. And like, that's the way I was feeling this week. I was angry for no reason, but it was blood boiling anger. That's why it scared me. It was just like, what the hell? Like, you know, what am I going, you know, what am I feeling? Why am I intensely angry? I'm like, under the surface, or in reality, I'm very happy I'm very, very happy the last few weeks. I'm very happy the last few months. Very happy, you know, since I've found myself again. But I was getting so angry and so triggered. And I know our triggers are our own and it's unhealed wounds, but it was so intense, and the emotions were so intense. I was like, what is wrong with me? And I do know it's part of my journey, so, like, you know, I'll get through it. And I know every purge of any kind, it's like a declutter. You're decluttering all that trauma out of your body. You're decluttering all that pain out of your body to make room, to open your heart, to make room for love to come in. And that's what it is. So, like, every purge has a silver lining, has a positive outcome. So, but like, even when normally when I'm going through a heavy purge, I will remember this, I'll understand this, and I'll be like, okay, this is intense now. This means there's going to loads of good come in replace of that. But I couldn't even feel that. I was so deep in those emotions that I couldn't see. Like I knew it was for a reason. I knew I was releasing, but I wasn't acknowledging the fact that it was for something higher, for something bigger. So understand that if you are purging these emotions or these anxieties or these fears or this heightened sensitivity, know that it is to make room for something better to enter, to open your heart more. And I find, like, even after that, my heart is more open, and I feel more able to receive love, whereas before I was very closed off and only was able to give love and not receive it. I used to kind of tend to do everything on my own. And, a friend of mine texted me yesterday just to check in, was like, all right. And I was actually able to speak to him, like, openly, and actually just tell him, look, I was going through shit. Like, normally I'd be like, oh, I'm fine, I'm over it now. Like, I'd be over the emotions, and I'd be like, oh, I'm grand. I'm fine. And I wouldn't even mention what I was going through the last few days because I would have gotten through it. But I just opened up and I was able to pour my heart out and just say, look, I was going through some shit the last few days. Thanks for asking. And it was the first time I was actually able to kind of, I suppose, receive help, to receive, like, the care for my friends, and that really blew my mind, because it was like, oh, thank God, that was one of my biggest blocks, was asking for help. And it felt so good to offload, and it actually really helped because I understood a few reasons behind my blocks, so that would help me to release those blocks even more. So yeah, understand that any kind of heightened emotions any kind of heightened purge will actually be making room for something, for your heart to open more and for you to be able to receive that support from others. So vivid dreams is another one. And now I go through vivid dreams all the time. I'm watching movies in my sleep every single night. But, like, they're intense. Like, last night was really bad. Just really bad. It's just violence and everything in my dreams last night. And, like, and I used to have violent dreams back in the day before I healed. And now most of my dreams are quite... There's lessons in them. But, like, there's never violence. But there was real... And that's the thing. Like, it was to do with the anger that I was going through this week as well. But that's the thing, yeah. Vivid dreams as well. Any kind of intense, erratic, fucked up dreams, really, are going to happen this week as well. So, what else? Yeah, the enhanced intuition then. And, like, that is amazing. Like, I love opening my spiritual abilities. And when they get strong, it's exciting. It's just fun, like. And because of my closed heart and my doubts within myself, my abilities have been suppressed a little bit. But, like, when they do come into form, when my heart feels open, they're actually louder. But this week now, they were very, very, very on point. They're very strong this week. My intuition is very loud this week. So, and I was getting more downloads. So I was getting the more the buzzing in the ears, and I knew that was spiritual downloads. So to understand that as well, like, any kind of buzzing in your ears, and I was getting it this year as well. Normally I just get it this year, and it's kind of a vibration, a buzz. And when I get it in this year, it's a high pitched noise. So yeah, I was getting it in kind of both ears this week. So I know that that's downloads, and that's the universe and my spirit team giving me more information for what's to come. And it's exciting, like, so embrace that. Embrace your gifts at this time. Excuse me. Where am I? Sorry, I can't read my own writing. So yeah, when you're going through, sorry, my writing is so messy, it's really bad. Anyway, so yeah, if you're going through these kind of emotions, be mindful. Look after yourself. Make sure you're nurturing yourself. Drink extra water, because when we're going through spiritual awakening anyway, we get very dehydrated. We need extra water. Keep putting that water into yourself, because that water will help you. Be nurturing towards yourself. Care for yourself. Just look after yourself. If you're going through these heightened emotions, do what makes you... Don't numb. I'm not saying go drinking or anything like that, because I don't believe in I don't do that stuff anymore. Like, my numbing these days is to watch a Disney movie. If I'm having a bad day, or if I'm on your inner child needs nurturing, or I need that extra bit of self-care, I'll watch a cartoon or a Disney movie and I'll feel better. Do you know? So just do something nice for yourself like that. Like, if I was sitting with the dogs on the couch, that's what I do as well. they're my babies, they're my healers in a sense. So, you know, spending some time with your animals, even spending time with nature if you can. And like, you know, I couldn't even do that the other day. I had to come in and I had, like, when I go through these heightened emotions, I just want to lock myself into a cage and just put myself under that blanket with the dogs and watch that cartoon. And I actually, after a while, I was grand and I was fine. And then that evening I was able to go back out again. But when I'm in that heightened state of emotion, I just need to just be on my own. I need to be just locked in and kind of recharge. And I felt so much better just from watching that. I watched Dumbo. It was really good. But like after watching that, I felt really good. And I straight away, as I said, it was like a shift. I'd been going through that heightened emotion, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, thank God it's over. And I just knew, like, you just know straight away when it's over. Because, like, you know, and don't get me wrong, there were still residual emotions that I still went through after that. But the heightened stuff was gone, and I knew straight away. I was like, oh, yes, it's gone. And that's why I call it bipolar, because 1 minute it's there, mad, and then next minute it's gone completely. Well, almost completely. So you kind of just know when the shift happens. So just meditation is very good around this time as well. Connecting with your soul, connecting with Mother Gaia, just self-care and nurture. That's kind of what I'm kind of getting at. Just look after yourself and just know that this week is intense. These solar storms, they're intense. The energies, the emotions, they're louder. The anger, the sensitivity, your intuition, all of it is just stronger. It's louder. It's hard. And like, it is hard. Like, you know, I had a very erratic week, and I'm used to having my purges. I'm used to having that healing and all that, but this week was intense for me, and that's why I was guided to do this video, because it was more like, I'm aware, like, and not everyone is aware, unfortunately. Some people are going through a spiritual awakening and they're not even conscious of it. Some people are empaths and take on energy and they're not even conscious of it. So if you're feeling this intense stuff this week, know that you're not alone. Know that you're not going crazy. Know that there's nothing wrong. That you're just having a release. You're having a purge. The solar activity is having an effect on your frequency, on your body, on your mind, on your soul, on your spirituality and your gifts. Know that, as I said, you're not crazy. I promise you. We're all going through the same kind of heightened stuff, and some of us more so than others. And like, because I don't think it's any coincidence that I had to reface my trauma from 10 years ago to release it this week. It's no coincidence that that happened at this time, because to me that was a sign that I had so much still buried within me, and it had to come out. And the solar storm actually allowed for it to come out fully, in a sense, if you get me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it dug deeper than I would have allowed myself to dig. So know that there's a benefit in having these heightened emotions. Know that there's a benefit in the learning that you're doing and the releasing that you're doing. And know that it is all for a higher good. And know that you'll come out stronger. Know that you'll come out with your heart more open than it was while you were going through that shit. I promise you, there is always a silver lining to these hard times. There's always something better to come, and I promise you that. So just trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and trust that you're protected, and just look after yourself. Mind yourself, plenty of self-care, plenty of self-nurturing, and just do you. Just look after yourself this week. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my page so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Thanks again. Bye-bye.